I've started the recording. Okay, good. So, while discussing the causes of diseases in Bhagavad Gita, let us understand what are we have in this presentation. We discussed the in this causes of the disease. We discussed the genetical causes. We discussed the environmental causes. We discussed the atmospheric causes or some kind of diseases which are which we are receiving as a result of breaking the cycle of yajna. Okay, and the karmic causes. Okay, so we have to do the karma analysis, and then according to that, if you are conducting some kind of vikarmas, or we are conducting a lot of vikarmas actually, so that is the root cause of the diseases. Next, we will discuss about the excessive usage of the logic. Okay, so many diseases, is a result of excessive use of left brain. Now, we know that there is a left hemisphere and there is a right hemisphere in the human brain. Okay, so some people are left brain dominant, left hemisphere dominant. Some people are right brain dominant. So left brain has its own centers, the right brain has its own centers. Okay, so human behavior should be a nice blend of left and right brain. But in this era, especially since last 50 years or last 25 years or maybe 100 years, we are nourishing only the left brain. We are very poorly, we are nourishing the right brain. Okay, the whole, if you observe the whole academic structure of the schooling or of the colleges, it is completely based on the nourishment of the left brain. Logical thinking, skills, memory, decisive making abilities, left brain has its, so all academic structure are completely made or structured to nourish the left brain or harder skills. Okay, left brain skills or harder skills, and even the right brain skill has the softer skills. Okay, so nourishment of the softer skills are poorly aspected by the current academic structure. Okay, so that is what is we have since last 7-8 years we are following International Day of Yoga, or some 10 years back, 20 years back, little bit. Now the academic structure or the academicians or the educationists are moving towards the nourishment of the right brain also. Okay, but till now we are under just pushing or just acknowledging or just promoting the left brain skills. That is a usage using the logics only everywhere. Okay, so this excessive use of logic creates the samshaya. Samshaya means doubt. We have almost lost the abilities of belief. Okay, we have lost the faith in everything. We have been trained that to ask the 5 W's. 5 W's: when, which, why, what, who. Okay, keep on. We are training our children that keep on asking these questions, these 5 W's. Okay, on each and everything. And we are not teaching them that you believe in something, you believe in God, you believe on my words. Okay, so all these beliefs or these softer skills we are not teaching to our children. Okay, so that is why, that is something that we are creating a generation who is actually a samshayatma. Okay, in Bhagavad Gita terminology, we are creating a generation which is expert in getting samshay, is getting doubts. Okay, wherever I am learning anything or someone is telling me something new, first question arises in my mind: what is this? Or when it is applicable? Why he is telling me this? Okay, or in which context I will able to use this? Okay, so some kind of doubts on that message or whatever the person is telling us. First of all, we put question on that message. Okay, we are habituated to do this. We are not able to believe on the Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman, there are 3 kinds of Praman. That Pratyaksha Praman, that is a direct perception. in Anumana Praman, that is an indirect perception or inference also, and Shabda Praman, that is a belief. So we have almost lost the Shabda Praman, the beliefs, the faiths. No, we have almost losing everything. We are only trained for adopting the Shabda Praman. If you are able to visualize, if you are able to see the results, then only you believe. Okay, so that in this way we are creating a generation which is something called as a Sanshayatma, excessive usage of the logic. We are using logic in each and everything. We are not believing the things. Okay, we are using complete logical skills on each and every aspect of our life. Why I have to do this, why I have to do that. Okay, so creating samshaya, creating doubts on each and everything. So what this Krishna is saying, adnyascha ashraddha dhanascha samshayatma vinashyati. The person who is adnya, or who is ignorant of all these things, who is ashraddha. Shraddha means belief. Okay, Shraddha means I believe in you, that you are telling, I believe in my parents, I believe in my God, I believe in my guru, I believe in my senior people in my society, in my family. Okay, is to what today, what is the scenario? If the mother is asking something to do, something to her daughter, she or son, the son or daughter will ask, why I have to do this? He don't believe in his mother or in her mother. Okay, or maybe senior people in the family or senior people in the society. Okay, so this is a scenario, today's scenario. So this is ashraddha. These are resulting in the samshayatma. Okay, they are actually samshayatma, or the people who are expert in logic only, expert in putting doubts only. So vinashyati nayam lokesti na paros na sukham samshayatmanah. For this, if you keep on having doubts or samshaya on each and everything, that will leads to the lack. Actually, that is a lacking the discrimination. Okay, so we put on discriminating everything with the help of our intelligence. We are thinking that we are having the highest intelligence on this earth. Okay, or in this universe, we think like this, that human beings have highest intelligence or highest intellectual powers or capacities or discriminative capacities in this universe. This is first of all our ignorance. This is a ajnana. So, but we believe, or we know that this is, we are highest intellectual person or animal on this earth. Okay, so, and that leads to the devoid of the faith. We have started using this intelligence and or this logical skills everywhere. Okay, and that destructs or that devoids the faith or some kind of a softer skills. So in short, our harder skills or our left brain capacities had started killing our right brain capacities or our softer skills. Okay, what are the softer skills? Hope, faith, adjustment, sacrifice. Okay, they have started killing all these abilities are literally getting dominated by the left skills or left brains. Okay, so as we are going more and more in urbanization, this is happening more. Okay, so we are losing the spiritual path, we are losing the path of bhakti yoga. Only the Jnana Yoga and Raja Yoga. Today also, in the field of yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga is highly followed path. But Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga is least followed path. Very few people follows the Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga practices. Because whether the fact is that Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga practices nourish your right brain, and Raja Yoga and Jnana Yoga practices nourish your left brain. Okay, how that we teach in our YSC basic courses of the yoga. So, so here we are completely losing the spiritual path. Okay, and for such soul, what Krishna is saying, there is no peace in this world, in the paralokik world, or in the other world, because after death of this body, some world is there. Atma remains. Atma is not destroyed. Atma, we cannot destroy the Atma. Okay, the body can be, we can burn the body, we can bury the body. Okay, but Atma cannot be destroyed. So in that state, Atma will not be satisfied, not in this body also, not in this world also, not in that world also. Okay, and he will never find happiness. He will be continuously under the stress. Okay, or something called as a Adhi. Okay, now this Adhi we will explore in next presentation. So this, he will be under stress continuously. He will be in the state of Adhi, and that will lead to the Vyadhi. Okay, of course, in other world, the body is not there. So bodiless Atma will not suffer the Vyadhi. Maybe when he will receive the body, that time he will suffer from some Vyadhi. So till when he is in the body, he will suffer a kind of a diseases, some or other kind of diseases. Okay, and when he is losing body, in between some time is there when he is bodiless. He don't have body. He is just an energy. He or she or that is a energy. So and when again that energy will receive the body, or that Atma will receive the body, he will receive the body with some kind of the damaged parts, or some kind of so many things are there that will lead to the diseases. So start believing in nature, start believing in the scripts, start nurturing your abilities of beliefs, abilities of faith, abilities of sacrificing. Sacrifices are just vanished from the earth. That's all. I'm just to exaggerate the thing. Sacrifices, how many people are sacrificing something for someone else, for your relatives, for your neighbors, for your society? Sacrifice is world is about to vanish now. Okay, and I'm not exaggerating, but this is a scenario present in some part of the world, in some part of the society, in some families. Okay, so this Samshayatma or Samshaya, creating logic or using excessive logical abilities, will not give you peace, will not give you any shanti. Okay, that will always end up in the stress. Why? Because usage of excessive logic or questioning with the excessive logic will create only the chain of question and answers. Okay, I will tell you something, you will ask me a question, I will answer again, you will have again questions on that. Okay, and it will be, if you are using your logical brain or left brain, we will never end up in this chain of question and answers. Okay, but rather than that, what is recommended, that use the the questioning is important, but questioning with faith. The best example is Arjuna, this Bhagavad Gita. He also questioned so many things, but he was believing that Sri Krishna is my superior authority or is my guru, and I am asking questions to him, and then whatever he is telling me, I will believe in that. So questioning with faith, I can keep on asking questions to my guru, but when I believe that whatever he is telling is for my benefits, okay, then that leads to a real knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita is a best example of the questioning with the faith. But in lectures also, when we conduct some workshops also, you'll find out of 50 people, 2-3 people, 2-3 persons or the students will be like that they are not satisfied with the answers, because they are not listening the answer with the faith. They are just using the logic, that how madam or sir or whatever the speaker is there, he is telling the answer, I have to question that. Okay, I am not accepting this answer. How this answer is correct, whether this is right or not. Okay, so they keep on they stuck at the question and answer chain. Okay, and that will not lead to any kind of output, or that will not lead to the peace or shanti. Okay, so that will always end up in the stress. So rather than questioning is important, but questioning with faith. If I'm asking question to someone, I should believe that whatever the answer I will receive, that is for my welfare. Okay, so that is always good for me. So I should accept it, and I should start working on that. But if you are asking only for the sake of conversation, or for the sake of just a depth, or for some vad and vad vivad, then it is just, you will stuck in that. You will create again the excessive logic, again stress, again keep on creating the adhi, and then the vyadhi. Okay, so excessive usage of logic, especially type A personalities, they are extra talented people. They are completely genius. Research is a field where lot of intellectual abilities are needed. Researchers, the professors, okay, or experts of their field. Now, excessive usage, keep on asking doubts and doubts continuously. Okay, so that make the person samshayatma. Okay, the that becomes the nature of that person. Okay, and then he will not end up in a peace. He will always end up in a stress or adi. Okay, so excessive usage of logic leads to the vyadhi. Okay, so here is an some little bit different context, that carriage, and if a person is adopting this kind of lifestyle, excessive usage of logic, doing all these vikarmas. Okay, last we have observed that these are the reasons or causes of the diseases. I'm continuously doing vikarma. Okay, I'm continuously breaking the cycle of yajna. I'm continuously what we say, causing the damage to the sthala and kala. Okay, I am causing the environmental. I am committing such kind of social behavior that is causing pollution in the sthala kala. Okay, or I am causing some kind of what we say, activities which are not good for my dynasty, not good for my families. So this is my nature now. Okay, so and that becomes a samskar and vasanas. Go to the next slide. Okay, so all these kinds of activities, breaking the cycle of yajna, causing damage in the family, causing damage to the society, conducting vikarmas, or excessive usage of the logic, that gets the that creates the, or that get carried in the form of sauskar and vasanas. Okay, that becomes our nature. Suppose, for example, if I will keep today, I will adopt a kind of a thought, and I will keep on thinking on that thought continuously for next 15 days, 30 days, 1 month, 2 months. Okay, for example, let us take the constructive example like yoga. Okay, we are adopting this yoga lifestyle, or we are adopting this yogic thoughts. Okay, and we are in this continuously process of this thought. Okay, since last 10 years, maybe 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, we are continuously working, thinking, contemplating, discussing about the same thought. So that thought, or this actually the yogic lifestyle or yogic ideology is getting printed on my genes. That is something called as a samskar. We are getting samskar. We are putting impressions on our genes. Okay, and I'm adopting that I want moksha, I want freedom from my bondages. We are creating some desires also. I want to overcome my limitations. Okay, we are not creating desires of the worldly pleasure, but we are creating the desires of the some that I want to get rid of my own limitations. I want to extend my limitations. Okay, so this kind of I want knowledge first of all. So we are creating vasanas. Vasana is the desire. Okay, first of all, get the meaning of this. Samskar are the strong impressions on the atma, okay, or on the genetic memory. So, and vasanas are the strong desires. Some desires, arises in our mind, and after maybe 1 day or 10 days, we forget that. These are not strong desires, but some desires are very strong. Okay, we adhere to that desire, and we live to complete that. Okay, so these are vasanas. Maybe some people have such kind of desires that whether the body gets shed off, okay, still atma continues that desires. Okay, so these are strong desires, that is called as the vasanas. Okay, so what is samskar? Samskar is a strong impression which atma carries, because look at the life from a complete big picture. Okay, what we are observing here, where is my cursor? Okay, so suppose we are in this present birth. Okay, we are observing our birth in this pattern. Day 0, to the year 60, 70, these things. Okay, so we think that we have this much life also, but that is not the fact. That is not the reality. Most of the people look the life here, from here to here only, from the starting of this birth up to the end of this birth, and remain confused. Okay, so they are observing a very small picture. Have a broader picture. Don't look at the life from complete big picture. Okay, from here you had last birth, you had previous birth, you will be having next birth, you will be having future birth. Atma, or the energy Jivatma, is not going to die at all. That is described in Sankhya Yoga, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So when we will look our, or we will view the life in this context, we are carrying some sanskars as vasanas from previous birth to last birth, from last birth to this birth, and we will carry some sanskar and vasanas to next birth and their future birth. Okay, so we are getting these lives continuously because of sanskar and vasanas only. So we carry these sanskar and vasanas and commit a respective kind of karmas. Why I am doing, each and every person is doing some karma here or some activity here. It depends on his samskars and vasanas. Okay, why some people are doing some kind of activities which is anti-social? Why some people are conducting some activity which is promoting to the society, or different actions? I'm just telling you two contests. Everybody is doing actions, or everybody is doing activities according to his samskars and vasanas. Okay, so in 8th sutra, what Sri Krishna is saying, शरीरम यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धान् निवाशयत्. You know, as the if the air is coming, so many times the smell is carried away with the air. This is a very practical example. Suppose there are flowers, or there's a garden. Then if the air is passing through that garden, that will carry the smell of that flowers. Okay, and it is always same way it is about the garbage also. Okay, if there is a garbage collection center, if the air is passing through that garbage collection, it will carry that bad smell also. Okay, so as the vayur gandha nivashayat, as the air carries the smell, Jivatma or the Atman carries the sanskars and vasana from one birth to the next birth. Okay, so whatever the lifestyle, or whatever this kind of vikarma nature, excessive usage of the nature, of the logic, or anything, all these 4 causes of the diseases we discussed, all that pattern, all that psychological process will get carries in the form of samskar, and that will end, and even the desires, that will end up in a respective karma. So we have to break this cycle. We are not supposed to break the cycle of yajna, but we are supposed to break this cycle of this carriage of samskar and vasanas. If the samskar and vasanas are good, beneficial for the society, that's fine. Okay, you can continue that samskar and vasanas. Okay, but if so many times the picture is not like this, so many people carries the samskar and vasanas again, or antisocial. They are not good for the society. They are always for the damage of the society. Okay, so they are carrying some samskar and vasanas for their selfishness. Okay, I want to get money, I want to get this kind of a pleasure, worldly pleasure. Okay, so we have to break this cycle of carriage of samskar and vasanas, and we have to stop committing from that kind of respective karmas. Okay. What is a procedure, or what in reality we can do that as per each and what is an emotion? First of all, if you have done the emotion analysis, emotion or the desires, emotion is a strong desire. Okay, a strong kind of a vasana. Okay, and vasana is depending again on the samskara. So after samskar results in vasana results in the emotions. Okay, so as per the sanskar, vasanas or emotion, the person get the birth in a particular kind of a body, or in a particular family, in a particular part of the world. Okay, so it depends that his birth is also depending on his sanskar and vasanas, and his all psychological pattern, his emotional pattern is depending on that, on his sanskar and vasanas. So Chetan or Jiva, basically Chetan and Jiva is covered with this samskar and vasanas. Chetan or Jivatma or anything you can name it, Atman is covered with these emotions, with this samskar and vasanas. Chetana or Jiva or that Atman or that soul is like a pure water. It is very clear always, but it gets contaminated. If you remember that Jivatma and Paramatma distinction table, that Paramatma cannot get contaminated, but Jivatma can get contaminated. Okay, so Jivatma get contaminated as the water get contaminated. So Jivatma get contaminated or polluted with this samskara and vasanas. So we know that as the water acquires a color mixed in it, okay, if we'll mix the color in the water will get that color. Okay, water will lose its transparency or clearness or cleanness. It will acquire the that color. So like that, when Jivatma comes or continuous exposure of this kind of a particular kind of samskar and vasanas, make the Jiva or Jivatma get contaminated with that samskar and vasanas. Okay, it adopt that color of that samskar and vasanas, not exactly color, but it get covered with samskar and vasanas. So what is the procedure or what is the solution to burn this desire, to remove the bad samskaras, or to remove which the samskaras which is not beneficial for the society? Okay, suppose this is something, this is a picturization, sorry, this is a picture I am telling you. Suppose I have some kind of samskara in my brain. Okay, so how I should wash it off, or how I should burn my desire? The answer is the bhakti. Bhakti, devotion, completely surrendering to the God, purifies this colorful water or this contaminated jivatma. It makes it transparent in which God's image can be reflected. You know, in a clear water, you can see your reflection. Okay, but if the water is contaminated, if the water is polluted, we cannot see the reflection of ourselves in that muddy water or polluted water. So like that, bhakti is only the process which is helpful to purify this contaminated jivatma. It makes it transparent, it makes it clear, so that God's image or that divine energy can easily enter inside us. Okay, so in verses 10 also, it is described that you need jnana chakshu, eyes of supreme knowledge. No, Jnana, what is Jnana Chakshu? I'm not going to get a third eye here. Like I have two eyes, I will get a third eye. Is it possible? No. But Jnana Chakshu, learning this, attending this kind of workshop, satsanga, you will get a different eye, or you will get a different vision to look towards the thing, or you will get a different process. You will learn a new thing, which will can help your jivatma from contamination. Okay, but it is difficult for rajoguni and tamoguni people. Adopting this kind of jnana chakshu or third eye or a different eye, a different vision is really difficult for rajasguni and tamoguni person. The people who have sattva gunas dominant in their personality, they can easily adopt this kind of a vision or this kind of a jnana chakshu, and they can follow the path of bhakti yoga. Now, whenever we are going and giving lectures on the path of bhakti yoga, the rajoguni and tamas guni people find it very bored. Madam aati hai, madam is telling, sir is telling, follow, do the chantings, follow the no, this kind of things. This is really boring. They don't find these things exciting, because that is because of their gunas, because of their rajas guna and because of tamas guna, they are not getting attracted towards the bhakti yoga. But sattva guni person finds this very interesting, and he can easily walk on this path and get his jivatma cleared or purified. Okay, so the complete purpose of yoga is this, so the purpose of real yoga, or we can say the yoga beyond the physical practices, is process of gaining the knowledge. First of all, we have to be aware of all these things. We should know all these things, right? And when we are knowing all these things, we can know him, we can know the God, and we can know him, and not to we will not commit any activity which is only in nourishment of body and mind. We will live for him, we will work for him, okay, and we will be continuously connected with him and follow his divine purpose. And that will lead to the internal health, that will lead to the that will lead to the internal peace, and that will lead to the health. What is happening today? We are just living for our selfishness, for our to fulfill our vasanas here, and that's why we are not able to connect. As our jivatma is contaminated with these vasanas and samskars, bad samskars, so bad impressions which I am carrying from last birth, I am not able to connect with the God. Okay, I am not able to do that activity which follows his purpose, or which are his instructions. I am following my own instructions of my mind only. Okay, so that leads to the internal disturbances, and that is, in this way we will result in ill health. But if we will follow this pattern, okay, get connected to him, purify your atma, with the help of bhakti and bhakti yoga practices, okay, that get connection with the God, that follows, we will commit such kind of activities that are that are according to his plan, or those are according to divine plan, okay, and that leads to the internal peace. Okay, so the sattvic activity is that thing only where your body is in pain, where your mind is in pain, but where your atma is in satisfaction. Okay, that is always nourished. Okay, so that causes to internal peace, and that will lead to the health. Okay, so thank you very much. Here again, I will stop my presentation here, and we'll meet on Monday.